Hi, everybody. This is Erica from In the Company of Cards. If you're new, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. So this will be a sort of a one issue what program because of course the all of the news of the hour is Epstein, Epstein, Epstein. And so I just want to cut to the chase and I want to see what this means for the felon. And also, I'd like to know what this means for Maxwell. So I'll talk about that in a minute. Also, I have the only other thing I want to say today before I look at the cards is that I've scheduled a live for members at the higher tier, and that's going to be on a Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific. So 5 p.m. Pacific is 8 p.m. Eastern, and whatever time zones around that you're in, you can do the math on that. And this will be, there's no topic particularly, but I think that that group is small enough yet that I can answer questions that they have, not personal questions, but questions that you personally might have about any of the issues that of the day. So politics, race, culture, the elections, um, you know, anything that you'd like to bring to the table, you'll be able to bring to the table. So members who are at the higher tier will receive a notification of that. I picked that date just because it was a good date for me. I think things could get unwieldy if I start asking people, what is your preference for when I do a live? I think it would become unwieldy. So I probably will not necessarily keep it on that day unless I hear from members that they like that time and that day and time. I may move it around on the calendar, but I'm going to probably do it once a week for members at the higher level. If you want to know what level I'm talking about, just if you click the join button, it'll detail for you the two levels that I've got. Uh, in another week or two, I'll do a live for the general public, but only members at any level will be able to leave comments. I just think that's the fairest way to do it for all concerned. That will be a, uh, a live that everybody can watch, but only members at both tiers can comment on. So that's how I'm going to do it. Sorry, I had to turn the heater off. It's looking like we're going to get rain here in Southern California in the next day or two of a monsoonal variety, which I'm thrilled about because we haven't had rain in like, I don't know, feels like in a year. It's been a while since it rained. So looking forward to that. Okay, so if you don't know, or even if you do know, just in a nutshell, we know that Adelita Grijalva has finally been sworn in. I saw Mike Johnson trying to act like he was her best friend, patting her on the back and being all friendly. But, we know what his deal is. We also know that various Republicans were summoned to the White House, among them, for example, Lauren Boebert, um, with an eye towards convincing them not to sign on to this, you know, what is it exactly? This order, we'll just say, that the Epstein files be released. Remember, that's the thing they're going to be voting on later. We know that Thomas Massie, a Republican who has been very supportive of the victims and of the files being released, has stated today that he thinks that there will be a bunch more Republicans signing on to get these things released. Further, we know that there has been a tranche dump of emails from Epstein, essentially saying that between Epstein and Maxwell, oh, I think, yeah, and saying that this is Epstein talking. Of course, the felon knew what was going on there. And not only that, of course, the felon participated in what I had going on. So, of course, the felon is protesting, but I mean, the news is all about this today. So I just want to know the effect that this is going to have on the felon's future. I'm trying to keep it as open-ended a question as I possibly can. I'm going to use the older man, that will be the felon, and I want to know what will all of the events of today mean for him moving forward, both politically and legally. What will it mean for him moving forward? Both the signing of this document saying, release the Kraken, let it all out, and these emails that have been released. This is Epstein's own words, essentially throwing the felon to the wolves from the grave, no less. Really interesting. There's so much going on in the world, and I will get to that, as the days proceed. But I feel like since this seems to be the question of the hour on everyone's lips, I would address that today. Okay, so let's look. I'm going to use the older man card that will stand for the felon, and how will all of the events of today affect him, both um, legally and personally and professionally, all of it. Okay, so here he is, and I'm going to pull some more clarifiers. Okay, so, nothing ever happens quick, fast, and in a hurry, am I right? This won't either, but at least we are making progress towards, having him be something in our rearview mirror. At any rate, the line of five is the mice, the birds. Here's the felon. We have the tower, and we have the garden. Okay. So, first thing I want to say is he's scared out of his mind. He really is scared. His stock in trade is deny, deny, deny. His mentor, Roy Cohen, he of the McCarthy era, told him that should always be your first line. Deny, just deny, 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 deny. Well, there's a certain point where you can't deny anymore because the evidence is clear. He's at that point and he's really scared. What's he scared of? The card that I can mirror it with. The people. The garden is the people. He's really scared of the public because this is a nonpartisan issue. People on the right, the left, the center, and everywhere in between uh, are disgusted by this whole thing. And so he's really he's terrified. He's scared of the people. Okay. Second card is birds. So birds is about talk. Well, who's talking? We are, of course, but who else is talking? People in government, most particularly the Republicans. Look, there are Republicans who don't care for him any more than we do, but they are craven and self-serving and lacking in moral authority, I guess, to do anything about it. But they would love to be out from under his thumb. So there are Republicans who are talking and saying to each other and themselves, is this our way out from under him? Is this our way to look like knights in shining armor, granted a day late and a dollar short, by championing the victims and getting rid of him? So there's a lot of talk about that. And of course, he's in the middle. So um, I pulled cards on him, and we have the lily, the rider, and the fox. For right now, doddering old man that he is, and that's what the lily is. Yes, the lily is about peace and ease and comfort. I trust me, he's feeling none of that. What he's feeling is his age. And what I mean by that is when he was at the top of his game, and until fairly recently, he was able to snow people with his you know, fast talking snake oil salesman pitches. But that's become increasingly difficult for him because he doesn't have the mental acuity that he had. So this being scared really throws him. Have you ever been really scared and you just don't know what to do? You don't know what's up. I think he's feeling weakened and doddering. Um, and so he'll only, he'll have one speed, which is be loyal, be loyal, be loyal, but with nothing to really back it up. Now, the rider, this is about the message. What is the message? The message that we will get from him is that he's shady. Now, who doesn't know that he's shady? Haven't we all? I mean, I guess there's still people who are asleep, but even they will have to wake from their stupor and say, wait a minute, this guy is shady. Even Epstein is saying he's shady from the grave. So, okay, fourth card was the tower, and the clarifiers are clover, stork, and key. I'm going to tell you, I think this is, if the tower stands for government, and we know that government currently is in serious disarray, all screwed up, well, these are really good cards. Everything's happening in this very uh, synchronized kind of way. Like, you know, the shutdown will be ended. Okay, we have our own feelings about whether the Democrats did the right thing or not. But one of the things that I said to you the other day is, okay, maybe this was not a great move on their part, but the good news is it will move the Epstein stuff forward. And that's true. So all that stuff speeds up. At the same time that these particular emails from Epstein to Maxwell are disseminated. It's all happening. It's like a confluence of things that are coming together. It feels sort of fated. There are no accidents. So, and I love these. We have the stork and we have the key. I think we are really seeing the beginning of his end, which is good for us, not good for him. We have finally the garden, and remember this stands for the people and the public, and he's afraid of the public, as he should be. And the clarifiers are the bear, the house, and the scythe. So here's the public, but here's him, the felon. The narcissist in chief, the one with all the power, the one in the White House who gets to bulldoze part of the White House, all of that. But look what happens. This will be a blow to him, a really serious blow. And that's what he's afraid of. I can mirror it with the mice. What he's afraid of is being cut down, however you interpret that, by all of these events of today and moving forward. You know, he is approaching his Caesar moment when Brutus and the other senators um, take him out. I mean, you can't misinterpret that. So, uh, the answer to the question is he's afraid, uh, he's worried, people are talking, Republicans are plotting ways in which these events can help them extricate themselves from his control. Let's look at how will it affect his health? Stress is not good for your heart. I'm just saying. The bad kind of stress, not exercise, which you wouldn't get, but I mean, this kind of stress is not good. We already think, most of us suspect that he has had a stroke that was more than a TIA, um, transient ischemic, um, whatever. It was more than that. His mouth's drooping, his legs dragging, his arm is slow to move, the right arm. His hair looks like, he doesn't have that flair that he used to have when he moved his hair all different directions to get that hairstyle. He doesn't look well. So I would like to look at his physical health. This time I'll use the tree. That is the card for health. The spirit knows what I'm asking. I'm asking about the felon's physical health in light of today's events and the days to come events. Because this is just the opening salvo. Okay, so let's look for the tree and see what we get. Okay, here's the tree. Okay, so we have the tower, we have the dog, we have the tree, we have the scales, and again, we have the garden, public. Okay. So where before this card stood for government, now I'm looking at it with different cards. So it takes on another one of its several meanings, and that is loneliness, isolation, feeling like, a man under siege and alone. So that's how he's feeling. Um, he can even be at Mar-a-Lago surrounded by people, but he will feel alone. He'll wonder, well, they're smiling in my face, but what are they really thinking? He feels isolated and alone. And remember that the tree, which is the card that is our significator and is the card for health, it's referring to health in all forms, mental, emotional, spiritual, physical health. So this speaks to his emotional health. He feels alone. But the second card is the dog. Okay, like the dog, The dog is the card for friends, but I can mirror it with the card that's on the other side of the tree, which is in the middle, and that's the scales. This is the card that I added to the Lenormand system. Um, I think that people whom he has considered friends, and really the question is, does he really have friends? Or does he have just yes men and women around him? But anyway, for the sake of argument, people who consider themselves his friends, whom he considers friends, are now weighing whether they want to be his friend or not, right? Now that the cat's out of the bag, do I really want to be associated with this guy? Which explains why he's feeling isolated and lonely. Okay. So I pulled some clarifiers for the tree itself, and we have the letter, the bear, and the book. Again, this is health. I feel like this is all kinds of things. This is diagnoses. This is prescriptions. This is the emails that are coming out now between Epstein and Maxwell that are causing him this angst. And he really doesn't know. This is about his mental health. He doesn't really know whether he can roar loud enough, threaten strongly enough to keep all the balls up in the air. He doesn't know if he can do that. So we know that both emotionally and mentally, he is feeling some type of way. Here we have the scales, and the clarifiers are the house, the star, and the snake. So, one of the meanings of this card is all things legal. Um, This is his physical body, his physical self. So, how will things legal affect his physical body in the future? Adversely, I would argue, because the snake is a problem. I mean, I call him the felon because he's a 43 count convicted felon. But these emails put him in even more hot water. And he feels that because, again, we can mirror the legal system and 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 again, what people feel is equitable with the snake. He's in trouble. We have the garden, which stands for everything outside of his personal space. And the clarifiers are the mountain, the moon, and the lily. I think that the public will be kept away, right, impeded from knowing what is really going on with him. And I feel like this is about mentation, mentation meaning his cognitive abilities. I think that they will try to keep from us the fact that, listen, between today and tomorrow, he will have aged exponentially overnight. That's how his health is. In every way. Emotionally, he feels isolated. Uh, Mentally, he's not sure that he can keep it together and use his normal techniques to keep people in line. Um, he is worried about the legal ramifications. He's worried about everybody coming for him. But I do think that the deterioration of his health, they will try to keep from us as much as they can. Not because they love him, they like him, and they want to protect him. No, it's so that people like Vogt and Miller can continue to do their dirt as long as they can, with him being, the Wizard of Oz that, um, nothing to see here, everything's fine. So this is not, I mean, this is, I would remember today. What is it, the 12th? I would remember November 12th because I think that is, I don't know what the astrology says, but I think that this is the beginning of the end for him, politically, socially, um, and and in terms of his time on this earth. Now, the other thing that I wanted to look at today is Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, I mentioned her in my last video. We know that she is preparing her written appeal for commutation or clemency that she will send on to the felon. We know that she's being assisted in that by the warden of you know, the day camp that she's in. Well, I guess it's a sleepaway camp, the jail that she's in. But have things changed? Because here's the thing. This is the news, right? Today we have these email exchanges between Maxwell and um, Epstein. Now, we also know that when Maxwell was deposed, I guess you could call it, by Todd Blanche, the second in command at the DOJ, we have on tape, we can hear it. She says, "Oh, I don't really, I knew him casually, and he was a gentleman, and I never saw anything untoward between him and any women. He's a paragon of virtue, and you know, I think he's great." That's basically what she told Todd Blanche, which of course caused her to be moved from the not nice at all prison that she was in Texas to the one that she's in Florida to the one that she's currently in I think Texas. Okay. So, the groundwork for her appeal looked pretty smooth, and it looked like he would probably pardon her. But now, come to find out, there are emails that prove her to be not just a pedophile, but a perjurer, a liar, under oath, a liar. And so, what good is she to him, really? Right? Like, what favors is she doing him? Because the truth has come out in the emails. On the other hand, vindictive SOB that he is, entertainment purposes only, could he perhaps commute her sentence anyway, just as a big to everyone, right? Like, not as a favor to her, not for old lang syne friendship that they used to have, but just because it's a mm, to the legal system, to most specifically the victims, uh, the Democrats, the public, women everywhere. He's that type, and he is a cornered rat. So I could see him commuting her sentence just because he can. Um, what difference does it make? If he doesn't commute her sentence, does that win him any goodwill from anyone at all? Not really. But since he cannot garner goodwill at this point now from anywhere, I think he's going to say, in for a penny, in for a pound. You already hate me. You're all going to crucify me anyway. So let me just, you know, here's the key, Ghislaine. You know, you're sprung. I don't know. So let's use the older woman card, and what we want to look at is, what does her fate look like in this moment? Again, time being mutable and people having free will, but given the release of these email exchanges between her and Epstein, email exchanges which are the opposite of exculpatory. I mean, these emails which essentially convict the felon of being an active and willing and frequent participant in everything that Epstein had to offer, what does this mean for Maxwell moving forward? Okay, so let's look. Remember, we're looking for the older woman, and that will stand for Ghislaine Maxwell. Hmm. Okay. Now, when I pull cards, I kind of get a sense of what I'm going to say, but not really. I usually don't know what I'm going to say until I actually start holding them up and talking. So I really don't know what I'm going to say. All right. So we have the young man, we have the stork, we have Maxwell, we have the tree, and we have the fish. So these two, I feel like, are past. She really, through her family, she kind of got the ball rolling, which is how she ended up in this other prison. She expressed a willingness to talk to the DOJ, to tell the DOJ whatever it is that they wanted to hear, and she was pretty bold about her positioning of herself, and it improved her situation, did it not? She's in the center, and we have the tree and we have the fish. This is the card for health again, I feel like. I don't think it's standing for anything else. I think it's about health. And I think that her emotional health is not great because I feel like this is a little bit like a monkey wrench having been thrown in the works. Uh, because before today, she was just saying, he's great, he's wonderful, he's terrific. He wasn't involved in anything. I don't know what you're talking about. He was always a gentleman, et cetera, et cetera. Well, now these emails come out and make her claims about the felon seem as specious as they actually are. So I think she's concerned about having to be in jail longer than she thought she might have to be. Now, I drew cards on everything. So here is her being big and bad and setting the terms and essentially in the end getting what she wanted because the clarifiers are the moon, the woman, the house. It was a standoff between the women, the victims, and the White House. And she um, used her influence to put herself in a better position. I mean, that is true. She did do that. The stork clarifiers are the anchor, the child, and the book. So things improved for her. They got better. Uh, Now, an anchor can keep you safe or it can keep you stuck. And that's actually perfect because she doesn't really know whether she's safe and going to get a out of jail card free or whether she's stuck. She doesn't know. I feel like she's feeling more disempowered than she was. Sorry, I have to send a message real quick. Um, okay, sorry. I think she's feeling less empowered than she was before because of what's happened today and doesn't really know what this means in terms of her status. She's really unsure. Here she is in the middle. Clarifiers are the dog, the lily, and the rider. I think her lawyers are telling her, they're sending her a message. Relax. This is okay. This is not the end of the world. The deal is still the deal. The deal being that she would be put in the better prison, and probably the deal being with an eye towards eventual commutation of her sentence. They're trying to keep her calm because she has a lot of she could spill a lot more beans. I'm going to put it that way. If it looked to her as though Trump were not going to rescue her, she could throw him under a bus in a big way. Although, granted, she's a perjurer. You can't believe anything out of her mouth. But, they're just trying to keep her on an even keel. The lawyers don't want her to make any big moves one way or the other. Fourth card is the tree, and the clarifiers are the tower, the bouquet, and the garden. So she may have to wait longer than she'd like to wait. I feel like now that I'm going vertically, this means a longer wait to get out of prison and be free. The gift of being let out of prison, freed from prison. So there may be a delay. I mean, would it be a good look um, if he released her sooner rather than later? Would it be a good look for him? Is the question. Um, and again, like I said before, he may release her because it's a good look, or he may release her because he doesn't care what it looks like. He in for a penny, in for a pound. Let me just, throw the baby out with the bathwater. And you don't like me, that's fine. I'm going to open the jail door. But she's going to have to wait for this to happen. Now, the final card is fish, and the clarifiers is key. Look at this key. This is money. And this is the key to her cell, right? But look, the two final cards are the snake and the whip. These are not good. Uh, these are not good. Now, I can mirror these with this. I think she could probably, this guy is he believes everything is possible, and he'll do whatever he needs to do to get what he wants. So I can see her feeling her position is more tenuous today than it was yesterday in relation to a pardon. And I can see her selling a wolf ticket to him. That's a really old expression. Um, Selling a wolf ticket means, in this case, reminding him, the felon, of what she could say if things were not to go her way. You know, Donald, if you thought today was bad, you have no idea what I'm capable of. So you might want to stick to your end of the bargain. And I'd love a date certain as to when I will be released. So I think there will be some words back and forth. I think the felon will not like the idea of being threatened or blackmailed. Um, he won't like that. On the other hand, he is scared of everyone, including scared of Ghislaine Maxwell. So she has cards to play. Right now, her lawyers are saying, let's not play any cards. Let's just wait and this is what the center line is telling me. Let's just wait, see how things play out. He is still Team Maxwell. He will still give you the commutation. So don't rock the boat. And she's saying, okay, that's fine. I'll hold on for now for like a minute. But if I start to see him shifting and he starts to try to distance himself from me like a cobra, I'll attack. And if I get taken down, he's going to go down with me. That's what I think her stance will be. Whew. Anyway, makes it's enough to make you want to go, take a shower, right? Okay. So today's what, Wednesday? Today's Wednesday. Tomorrow, if you're a Substack reader, I'll be writing over on Substack, so you can find me there. Uh, and uh, And then Friday, I'll probably come on like I am here, but I will also be doing the live for members. So if you are a channel member at the higher level, if you have burning questions that you'd like me to look at in regard to this or any other subject of, you know, significance to all of us, please think of those questions and get them all together, and you'll get a notification of when the live is. But again, it is going to be on Friday at 5 Pacific time for members only. All right, everybody, I will see you very soon. Take care.